Yes, it is Friday, and here we are, the Friday before the Idaho legislative session. On Monday, we will kick off the 2026 lawmaking campaign, and technically, the legislature gavels in at noon, but at 1 p.m. is where the attention will be. The governor delivers his State of the State address. Governor Brad Little will give his vision and ideas for the year, likely celebrate some wins in his eyes. And to set the stage for Monday, it's important that we remember it takes two to tango. The governor will deliver what his proposed budget looks like, but it is up to the legislature to do the work on it. Lawmakers and the governor, they do not always see eye to eye on everything, so there is always intrigue into where the legislation falls and what Governor Little gets to actually sign or not sign into law. The budget discussion this year will frame the conversation more so than probably ever in the recent years. There is a projected budget deficit of about $40 million that we've covered at length, and there is a massive range of opinions on why that is. I spoke with Idaho Democratic leadership for their perspectives on the budget situation. We heard from Idaho's governor yesterday. Minority Leader in the House, Representative Alana Rubel, and Senate Minority Leader, Senator Melissa Wintrow, had this to say.
The GOP leaders cut massive amounts of revenue. They did giant tax cuts in every way, shape, or form. They enacted a voucher bill. They really went way over what our DF, we have this Division of Financial Management who's made up of these very smart people with PhDs in economics. They projected a certain amount of revenue that they thought we would get. Then the legislature came in and said, nah, let's just say we're going to get $500 million more than that, and we'll spend that and use all that for these tax cuts. So they did giant tax cuts that were not in line with the amount of revenue we thought we were going to get. Sure enough, the revenue came in way short of this kind of fake number that they projected. We are now $555 million short of even the bare bones skeleton budgets to keep our agencies operating. But it gets worse because usually at the beginning of session, we bring something called the conformity bill where we conform to new changes in the federal law. There was that one big, beautiful bill act. If we conform to that, that's almost another $300 million probably out of our revenue. So we would be looking at being over $800 million short for the bare bones budgets to keep our agencies going. It's frightening.
And we dive in deep this Sunday morning on Viewpoint at 9 a.m. And on top of that, though, what we just heard about, the governor touched on a major topic for the session yesterday. If you missed our report, check it out right now, KTVB.com. But he talked about how Idaho will handle tax cuts in the federal so-called One Big Beautiful Bill. Idaho has the opportunity to conform or agree to a list of provisions, close to 40. Without a law that says Idaho's going to do otherwise, Idaho is expected to go in and conform with all the cuts approved by Congress. In fact, the governor said that he basically told the president on a personal level that this is going to get done. Well, the Tax Foundation at the national level, they have forecast that the cost to Idaho and its budget is about $167.4 million, and that's revenue every year until this tax package expires, and that for now would be 2028. Because of tax cuts, revenue is cut to the state. So if you ask across the aisle, though, the Republicans, there is a vastly different feeling than when we just heard from the Democrats. I've even heard from Republican lawmakers who tell me they thought the tax cuts that were signed into law this past year were great, and they think even more taxes could be cut again this session. House Speaker Mike Moyle explained how he sees it.
In Idaho, we left here with a balanced budget, substantial reserves on the bottom line, and we're in good shape. And that's why we're in good shape today. But I want to emphasize something. One of the things that really bothers me when I read the paper, it sounds like the whole world's coming to an end in Idaho. We're talking about, what, 5% cut? Our ag guys are looking at substantially higher cuts than that because of what they're put up with. And they'll make those reductions and they'll get through it. The state of Idaho is in good shape. It's going to be good. We're all going to do well. We'll do our best to protect education in those important budgets. But at the same time, we'll make those needed adjustments to balance the budget and get out of here. And we'll continue to be what we are now, the best state in the nation. Thank you.
All right, so we will have full coverage from the State of the State, first day of the legislative session, coming up on Monday at 1 p.m. Our live coverage will actually start during the news at noon, so join us for an hour-long edition of that. Governor Little said this over and over to the point where we thought he was kidding. He said that the speech will be 2.5 hours long on Monday, which would be the longest by nearly 2 hours. He said this about a dozen times. His press availability, we're told, is closer to 1:45, so we'll see about the timing on all of that. But either way, right after the speech from the governor, we will have reaction from key players at the State House in real time. Looking forward to that coverage coming up on Monday.